Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to tear apart those frustrating systems and give you the insights you need.
That's right, challenging the status quo.
And today, oh boy, we are diving deep into something probably everyone listening has strong feelings about: performance management. That universally loathed, resource-draining machine.
The annual review cycle. Yep, we've all been there.
We've got two really potent critiques today from Szilvia Olah. Obviously, these could fundamentally change how you see your next review.
They're sharp, really cut through the noise.
But hang on, before we even get into why your HR process is likely, well, structurally flawed, you need to make sure you're plugged into the conversation that matters. If you want these kinds of high-impact, crucial insights on HR and performance, the stuff that challenges how things are usually done, you are missing out right now if you're not subscribed.
Seriously missing out.
So stop what you're doing for a second. Go subscribe to The Contrarian HR on Substack, Spotify, and YouTube. They deliver the insights you need to stay ahead of the curve. Don't miss out.
Okay, plug done. Mission time.
Mission time. It's targeted today. We're uncovering why the traditional annual review is just broken, statistically misleading, and an administrative nightmare.
A huge time sink.
Exactly. We need to shift the focus back to where performance actually lives.
Which is?
In the day-to-day actions, and crucially, how to measure that action correctly.
Right, because you come here for that actionable, high-impact knowledge, and these sources, they absolutely deliver.
They really do.
What jumps out from both pieces is this huge disconnect. The system says it's about improving performance.
Yeah, the stated goal.
But its actual function, often hidden. It's really just administrative data collection. And based on some pretty flawed ideas.
Okay, let's unpack this massive administrative failure. Let's start with the first source. The title alone is just perfect corporate irony.
Go on.
Performance management system doesn't drive better performance.
Slight laugh. Says it all, doesn't it?
Right. A system that fails at its #1 job.
The irony is almost funny if the waste wasn't so staggering.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. This process forces millions of people, managers, employees,
Everyone gets dragged in.
to basically stop, look back over the whole year, summarize it, write it down. It's just retrospective journaling.
Olah literally asks, what the hell are you doing journaling retrospectively? It's a great question. And the cost isn't just theoretical, wasted energy. We're talking massive payroll waste.
Huge.
The key statistic she cites is pretty sobering. In just one typical company, creating the ratings took nearly 2 million hours a year.
2 million hours. Let's try and put a number on that. Even if you take a modest average salary, say $50 an hour, blended rate for managers and employees, time in meetings, filling forms, calibration,
Okay.
you're easily talking about $100 million
Yeah.
annually.
Yeah. $100 million. Just to generate, what? A stack of forms. Biased letter grades.
Output that doesn't actually improve anything?
Yeah.
And the flaw is baked right into that standard process we all know.
Yeah, describe that process. It's depressingly familiar.
Well, you cascade company objectives down into individual goals, usually those SMART goals.
Supposedly specific, measurable, achievable.
Yeah. Then you add the now obligatory quarterly chats. Ola calls them the new addition to the madness.
Chuckles, I like that.
And it all leads up to the big annual summary and that forced rating. Below, meets or exceeds expectations.
The dreaded boxes.
And this is where the system's real purpose, the toxic part, comes out. It's not about coaching or development.
Yeah. What is it then?
It's about collecting biased, bad data. Basically, subjective opinions from managers.
Opinion pieces, yeah.
And then forcing that data, kicking and screaming sometimes, into a predefined statistical curve, usually a bell curve.
Ah, the calibration meeting. Where your manager comes back looking stressed because they were told their team is too good.
Precisely. You've got too many exceeds. You need to find someone to bump down to meets to fit our quota.
So Debbie, who had a great year, suddenly meets expectations because the spreadsheet demanded it.
That's the Debbie problem right there. If the manager's ratings don't fit the curve, they have to go back and tweak them until they do. The employee's future salary, bonus, development, it's decided by an administrative target, not their actual contribution.
And this obsession with the rating, the box, it actively works against development, doesn't it?
Completely. If the only goal is hitting that rating, why would you focus on genuine growth or trying something new that might risk failure? You just focus on compliance.
And the source makes a really strong point about teamwork, too, which companies always say they value.
Oh, the hypocrisy there is thick. The system is intensely individual-focused. But how does that square with modern work?
It doesn't.
Think about complex projects, cross-functional teams. It's often impossible, genuinely impossible, to isolate one person's specific contribution to the team's overall KPIs.
Right. How did that one engineer on the 5-person team, the team that maybe missed its revenue goal by 5%, how did that engineer specifically meets expectations?
It's an administrative fudge. It has to be. It's not based on measurable reality, because the reality is collective.
That's the core tension, isn't it? The system needs neat individual data, but the real work doesn't provide it.
Which leads us right back to Olah's fundamental principle in this first piece. This is crucial.
Okay, what is it?
Performance management is found in the daily action and clear expectations. Simple as that.
Not in those quarterly chats or the big annual review.
Nope, those aren't management. They are purely performance evaluation. There's a massive difference.
Explain that difference. Evaluation versus management.
Management is continuous. It's coaching, feedback in the moment, giving resources, clearing obstacles. Evaluation is looking back, judging, assigning a label.
So if we want a system that actually works...
We need to flip the investment. Olah suggests putting 90% of the effort into genuine, forward-looking development. Coaching, skills, growth.
And only 10% on measuring that growth.
Exactly. She calls it a performance development system, a PDS.
A PDS. How does that look different in practice from the monster we just described?
Well, first, you measure team performance collectively. That's primary. Individual metrics focus only on things you can clearly measure, specific project completions maybe, or demonstrated competency development. Skills for the future.
So you shift away from hitting some arbitrary past target.
And onto building capability. Continuously, it's future-focused.
Okay, so the process is broken, wildly expensive, collects bad data. Got it. But there's another layer here, right? Because even if managers try to manage daily, they often mess up interpreting what they see.
Bingo. And that brings us perfectly to the second article. We are not looking at employee performance correctly.
So first the system is wrong, now how we use it is wrong too.
Pretty much. This is where we need to talk about a fundamental statistical idea that trips up managers all the time.
Okay, lay it on me.
Regression toward the mean, or return to average.
Regression toward the mean. Sounds complex, but you said it's common sense.
It really is. The mean is just the average, the normal level. Think about anything that varies your golf score, a basketball player's shooting percentage, an employee's daily sales.
Okay.
Performance always fluctuates around some average true level of performance. That average, the mean, that's what's real. The really high points and the really low points. They're mostly noise, variance, luck.
And they naturally, well, go back to the average.
Exactly. They regress or return to the mean. It's a statistical certainty.
Let's use that golf analogy you mentioned. Top pro golfer usually shoots 70. Today, they shoot an amazing 64. Everyone's clapping, right?
High fives all around.
Tomorrow, they shoot 72. Did the praise yesterday cause them to play worse today?
Of course not. That's ridiculous when you put it that way. The 64 was an outlier, partly skill, partly luck. Maybe the conditions were perfect. The 72 is just them returning closer to their actual average skill level. It's regression.
And ignoring this leads to what Olah calls the feedback fallacy in management.
Precisely. Let's walk through that classic scenario she describes. You're the manager. Today, an employee has an outstanding day. Maybe smashes their sales target, gets amazing client feedback. A real peak.
Okay, so I rush over and praise them. Great job.
Yep. The next day, performance dips back to normal, maybe even a bit below. Then later, maybe they have a subpar day. You intervene, give some constructive feedback.
Hey, let's talk about what happened.
And the next day, performance improves back towards their average.
So what conclusion do I, the manager, draw?
The instant, intuitive, but totally wrong conclusion is praise makes them dip, so I better be careful with praise. And conversely, my feedback works. They always do better after I step in.
Ah, I see the trap. I attribute the change to my action, not to the natural ebb and flow around their average.
Exactly. You think your praise hurt and your criticism helped? But Olah's point is stark. In this specific scenario, your feedback did absolutely nothing to the performance itself.
Nothing. Really?
The pattern you perceived, praise, then dip, feedback, then improvement, there was just regression to the mean playing out. The performance was going to fluctuate back towards the average anyway, regardless of your words.
Wow. That really undermines a lot of standard management practice.
It highlights a huge managerial blind spot. We remember the extremes, the record sales day, the big mistake because they're emotionally charged, memorable.
The peaks and valleys.
But ask that same manager, what was the average performance for the team last month? What's the normal daily output? Often, they have no clue.
They're managing the exceptions, not the rule.
Right. And the same fallacy messes us up with training, too.
Yeah.
You've seen this, right? Employee goes to training, comes back, demonstrates the new skill perfectly right afterward.
It was great.
Then a few weeks later, their performance on that skill slips back towards where it was before, or maybe slightly better, but not perfect. And the manager freaks out.
I paid for this training. You showed me you could do it. What's wrong?
And Olah's answer is simple. Nothing is the matter with them. It's just regression to the mean. The initial post-training peak had some artificial elements focus, freshness. They're settling back to their current sustainable average.
Okay, this is actually really useful. What's the practical takeaway for managers then? How should they apply this understanding of the mean?
It changes how you react. First, poor performance is only really a problem if it's frequent, meaning their average, their mean, is actually low.
So if a generally good employee just has an off day,
don't waste your time or theirs with a silly feedback conversation, as Olah puts it. They're probably just having a random dip below their mean. They'll likely bounce back on their own tomorrow. Trust the mean.
Okay, that saves a lot of unnecessary angst. What else?
And crucially, don't use those exceptional peak performance days as the new benchmark for future performance.
Because that's setting them up to fail.
Statistically, yes. You're benchmarking against an outlier. They're far more likely to regress back towards their average than to consistently repeat that peak. Celebrate the highs, learn from them if you can, but don't build your expectations on them.
So bringing these two powerful sources together, how do they connect? We have the broken system from source 1 and the flawed interpretation from source 2.
It's a perfect synthesis, really. Source 1 tells us performance management must be a continuous daily activity coaching, setting clear expectations. It's about the doing, not the reviewing.
Okay, manage daily.
And source 2 tells us how to interpret what we see during those daily actions. Focus on the average, the mean performance over time. Don't overreact to the random highs and lows, the outliers. Understand regression.
So manage daily and manage the mean, not the exceptions.
Precisely. And together, these deliver a conclusion that is, I think, unavoidable. It's the core message we need people to take away.
Let's hear it, the definitive conclusion.
Performance isn't found in those mandated quarterly check-ins or the annual song and dance appraisal. Those are administrative evaluations, period. True performance lives in the daily actions, the clear expectations, and the actual skills of your employees.
That's where the focus has to be, day in, day out.
Which leads directly to that managerial imperative, the responsibility.
Yes, this needs to be said very clearly. Let's state it.
Okay? If managers, supervisors, leaders, whatever their title, if they do not actively manage performance daily throughout the year,
meaning coaching, clarifying, developing, removing obstacles continuously,
then they have absolutely no right to stand in judgment and measure it at the end of the year in the form of some formal appraisal.
You haven't earned the right to evaluate if you haven't bothered to manage.
That's the accountability we need. Performance management has to be part of the actual job of leading people, not some HR task you tick off a list once a year.
We've cut through the admin fog, the statistical noise, hopefully shown that profound difference between just evaluating someone and actually managing performance. That feels like a successful deep dive.
Agreed. A lot to think about there.
So as we leave you to mull this over, maybe think about that provocative little protest idea Olah mentions. A fun final thought.
Yeah, yes, the fashion statement.
Given this whole administrative nightmare of being forced into boxes like meets expectations,
which statistically is where most competent, steady employees probably are, around their mean.
Right. So Olah suggests maybe as a quiet act of rebellion when your next appraisal cycle kicks off.
Wear a T-shirt.
Yeah. Wear a shirt every day that just says meet expectation. Or, get festive with a meet expectation holiday jumper.
I love that. It's a subtle nod, isn't it? That being average, being reliably good, hitting your mean that's actually valuable and should be recognized, not calibrated away to fit some curve.
A brilliant, passive-aggressive challenge to the system. Fantastic. We absolutely love it. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.
Yeah. Hope it gave you something to chew on. Catch you next time.